Hello everyone, myself Dr. Narendra Kumar Singh, Associate Professor, Babu Banarsi Das University, Lucknow. Today the topic of our discussion is atomic absorption spectroscopy. Dear friends, as we know that a number of pharmaceutical and biological formulations are available in Indian pharmacopoeia, British pharmacopoeia, United States pharmacopoeia and any other pharmacopoeia which contains the metal ions. A number of conventional methods available like complexometric titration, gravimetry for determination of the metal concentration in case where sample is available in sufficient quantity. But in case where the quantity of the sample is very less, these methods are not specific, selective and efficient for determination of the metal ion concentration. In several cases where the amount of sample is very less, for example biological sample, hormones, enzymes, etc., where the concentration of metals are also present in very trace amount, so these methods are not specific or not applicable for determination of the metal ion concentration. In these cases, atomic spectroscopy are useful for determination of metal ion even in very less quantity. For example, in hormones and in enzymes, metals are present in a very trace amount. So by using atomic spectroscopy, we can determine the amount of metal in nanogram quantity. Where conventional method fails to determine the exact quantity of the sample. There are three different methods of atomic spectroscopy. Number one is atomic emission spectroscopy. Second one is flame emission spectroscopy. It is also known as flame photometry. And third one is atomic absorption spectroscopy. In atomic spectroscopy, sample is introduced in the flame in form of a fine mist where high temperature of the flame convert the molecule in the form of atoms, and atoms absorb the energy of flame and goes to their excited state where it absorb the energy of light or it emit the specific line spectrum through which the concentration of the metals present in the sample is determined. So among these two methods, atomic emission spectroscopy and flame emission spectroscopy, these two methods based on the determination of the emission spectra, while atomic absorption spectroscopy is based on the measurement of the amount of light absorbed by the metal ion present in the sample. So the quantity of the metal ion present in the sample determined in atomic absorption spectroscopy, that is based on the intensity of light of a particular wavelength absorbed by the sample present in the flame. So now why atomic absorption spectroscopy is based among these three? There are a number of cases available. For example, zinc, we can't determine the exact quantity of the zinc by using these two methods. But atomic absorption spectroscopy is the analytical method of choice for determination of the refractory metal ions, zinc, calcium, magnesium, and there are so many metals available that can be measured by this method, but we can't measure by these two methods. For example, in case of atomic excitation spectroscopy, we can determine the ratio of the number of atoms in their first excited state to the number of atoms in their ground state. That is, population in first excited state upon the number of atoms in the ground state, that is equal to P2 upon P1, where P2 and P1 is the statistical weight of atoms in their first excited state and in their ground state. E2 is the energy of excited state and E1 is the energy level of ground state. K is Boltzmann distribution constant and T is temperature. P, that is the statistical weight of atom in their excited state and ground state. It is related to the total quantum number of the metal atom, and it is equal to 2 into J plus 1. And in case of zinc metal, this ratio is found very less, that is 1.13 into 10 power minus 9. It means when sample introduced in the flame and the atom acquire the energy of the flame and goes to their excited state. But in case of zinc, the number of atoms that goes to their excited state is found very less. It means of very few number of atoms present in the flame goes to their excited state, and that's why in these cases where the number of atoms goes to their excited state is very less, we can't accurately determine the concentration with greater sensitivity. So in that particular case, for example, in case of zinc, this ratio is very less, even at temperature 3100 degree Kelvin. So we can't determine the concentration of zinc with the help of flame photometry or atomic emission spectroscopy, but concentration of zinc can be accurately calculated with the help of atomic absorption spectroscopy, because the flame photometry and atomic emission spectroscopy is based on the quantity of atoms that absorb the energy of light and promote it to their first excited state. But the principle of atomic absorption spectroscopy is based on the fact that the number of atoms that absorb the energy of light source fall on the flame. So in that case, atomic absorption spectroscopy is the method of choice for the determination of accurate quantity. This is the schematic diagram of atomic absorption spectrophotometer. The source produce a line spectra which is passed through the burner, and in this burner sample is introduced in the form of a fine mist, and it is also supplied with the fuel gas like acetylene and air, or in some cases nitrous oxide is also used in place of air. So sample introduced in the flame in the form of a very fine mist, where at the high temperature of flame the sample evaporated and dissociated in the form of atoms, where atom absorb the energy of light and goes to their excited state. So the amount of light that is emitted from the flame reaches to the monochromator, which isolate the line spectrum that is uh, emitted by the source, and this beam of light passes through the detector, generally photomultiplier tube used as a detector. So detector detect the intensity of light of a particular wavelength that is emitted by the source, absorbed by the sample in the flank, and therefore the quantity of the sample is calculated on the basis of the amount of light absorbed by the sample in the flank. So the signal transferred to the amplifier, which is amplified, and then signal recorded in the form of a graph between absorbance of the sample and concentration. So we can determine the exact quantity of the sample present in the flank. Now coming on the source used in atomic absorption spectrophotometer. Ordinary source that is used in UV visible spectrophotometer cannot be used in atomic absorption spectrophotometer, like deuterium discharge lamp, hydrogen lamp, mercury discharge lamp, etc. These lamp, tungsten lamp, these lamp cannot be used in atomic absorption spectroscopy because the spectrum emitted by these lamp generally emit a very broad bandwidth, while in case of atomic absorption spectroscopy, the atom absorbs the energy of a very narrow range of light. The bandwidth of these lamp is more than 1 nanometer, while the bandwidth which is absorbed by atoms in flame is in the range of 0.01 to 0.001 nanometer. So these lamps are not suitable for atomic absorption spectroscopy. There are 3 different types of lamps used in atomic absorption spectroscopy: hollow cathode lamp, electrode-less lamps, and in few cases discharge lamps where a very fine line of spectra emitted by the lamps are used, like sodium and potassium discharge lamp. So now coming on hollow cathode lamp. Hollow cathode lamp is a glass tube which consists of a cathode of the metal that has to be determined in the sample. It also has a tungsten anode, and the terminal of the hollow cathode lamp is made up of quartz window, through which the line spectrum passes into the flame. This glass tube is filled with xenon gas or some other inert gases at very low temperature, about 0.5 torr. These lamps operate at approximately 50 Hz. When a potential difference arises in between anode and cathode, the inert gas filled in this tube ionizes at the surface of the anode and moves toward the cathode. So the ionized gases which moves from the anode to the cathode cause sputtering of the cathode metal, and the discharged atoms from the surface of cathode collides with the atoms of inert gases. Due to these collisions, the atoms of metal absorb the energy, and therefore they promoted to their higher energy level. From their higher energy level, when they come to their ground state, they emit a line spectrum that has to be absorbed by the sample in the flame. So the line spectrum emitted by the hollow cathode lamp is similar that has to be absorbed by the sample present in the flame. Each cathode is made up of the material to which that has to be cathode of the hollow cathode lamp is made up of the material that has to be analyzed in the sample, and therefore the cathode of hollow cathode lamp uh, the emit the line spectrum which will be absorbed by the metal present in the sample. So therefore we have to use the separate hollow cathode lamp for each metal, uh, and this is the, we can say this is the drawback of atomic absorption spectroscopy, that in case of uh, different metals analysis we have to use the different hollow cathode lamp. Each hollow cathode lamp is available in the market at their price from 15 to 20,000. So this is the basic drawback of atomic absorption spectroscopy, that we have to maintain several hollow cathode lamp in our laboratory in determination of a number of metals present in pharmaceutical preparations. But one advantage is that uh, we can determine the metal concentration in the sample without any interference, because the metal present in the sample will absorb the line spectrum which is emitted by the hollow cathode lamp of same material that has to be analyzed in the sample. So if we have to zinc in our sample, we have to use the hollow cathode lamp in which the cathode made up of zinc. So if zinc is present in the sample along with several other metals like copper, magnesium, calcium, so there will be no any interference of these metals in the determination of zinc, because the line spectrum emitted by the hollow cathode lamp of zinc will absorb only by the zinc in the sample, and no other metal will absorb this radiation. So this is the major advantage of atomic absorption spectroscopy, that we don't need any sample preparation. In many cases metal present in the sample in the form of their complexes, but when these samples introduced in the flame, these complexes dissociated and therefore liberated the atoms that absorb the energy of line spectrum emitted by the cathode, and they goes to their high energy level, and detector detect the amount of intensity of light of a particular wavelength absorbed by the sample, and therefore their quantification will be done on the basis of the intensity of light absorbed by the sample. This is the whole setup of atomizer. The sensitivity of the determination of metal depend upon the size of the burner. So the dimension of the burner generally used in atomic absorption spectroscopy is 100 millimeter into 0.4 mm. So the size of this burner generally used in atomic absorption spectroscopy is 10 centimeter, that is equal to 100 millimeter, and the orifice, a very fine orifice present in this burner is approximately 0.4 millimeter. A very fine uh, droplets sprayed in this flame through this nebulizer. Actually the sample is aspirated from here, and air and fuel gas simultaneously passes in the mixing chamber, where the sample mixed with fuel gas and air, where it is oxidized, and this mixture then pass through this nebulizer. This nebulizer spray the sample in the form of a very fine mist in the flame, where it vaporizes at the temperature of the flame, and the bond between the sample is breakdown, and therefore it is converted into the atoms. The temperature of the flame in case where air and acetylene gas is used is approximately 2300 degree centigrade, but in case where nitrous oxide is used, In place of air, temperature is approximately 3100 degrees centigrade. This temperature is sufficient to cause the vaporization of a number of metals like magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium, lead, bismuth, zinc, etc. But in cases where refractory metals has to be used, where high temperature is required to vaporize the sample, like aluminium can be evaporated at this temperature. So to achieve this temperature, we have to use nitrous oxide in place of air along with the acetylene as a fuel gas. When sample introduced in the flame, most of the metal form their oxides, and therefore these oxides also absorb the energy that is passed through the through this flame, and therefore the quantification of sample in the flame will not be accurate. So in order to reduce this error, we have to use a graphite furnace in place of this burner. A graphite furnace is nothing but it's a small tube of graphite. In this tube, a few microliter of liquid sample is passed and voltage is applied, very low voltage is applied around this graphite tube, and at this voltage the sample vaporizes and the organic material present in the sample, they will be converted in the form of ash, and the remaining inorganic material, that is in their dried form, will be evaporated when voltage is increased. At high voltage, the temperature achieved here is approximately 2400 degrees centigrade, and at this temperature the sample get vaporized and the atoms present in the vapor absorb the energy of light which is available to the sample. So the advantage of using graphite furnace is that the metal which form their oxide in the flame will not be there, and therefore the accurate determination will be there in graphite furnace. So it is graphite furnace is applicable in those metals which form their oxides in the flame. Monochromator in atomic absorption spectrophotometer is required to isolate the line spectrum from undesired wavelength of light. Actually, when light is passed in the flame, a portion of the light absorbed by the sample and rest of the intensity of light transmitted, which has to be measured by the detector. But in certain cases, along with the line spectrum that is emitted by the source, there are a number of atoms that absorb the energy of radiation in the flame. They also emit some radiation that pass through the monochromator. So the objective of using the monochromator to isolate the line spectrum emitted by the lamp from the other line spectrum. For this purpose, a simple grating system is used, but in case where the spectrum that is very close to the line spectrum emitted by the source has to be isolated, we have to use a very specific monochromator. The detectors generally used in atomic absorption spectrophotometer is photomultiplier tube. Photomultiplier tube receive the signal from the monochromator, and it compare the intensity of light before the use of sample and the intensity of light after the use of sample. So if the intensity of light that fall on the flame is I naught and if the intensity of light that is transmitted through the flame is IT, so detector determine the difference of the intensity of light fall on the flame and the intensity of light transmitted through the flame, and this difference is equal to the amount of light absorbed by the sample. So on the basis of this amount of light absorbed by the sample, we can calculate the exact concentration of the sample in the flame. For quantitative determination of the metal in the sample, we have to use some stock solution of known concentration, and with the help of the absorbance of stock solution, we can prepare a calibration curve between absorbance and concentration. And with the help of this calibration curve, we can determine the equation of state line y equal to mx plus c, and with the help of this equation we can determine the concentration of unknown sample by using this equation. Thank you so much.